10th place in the Western Conference, side with 6 stars above their crest, looking to get back on track against one of the very early MLS Cup favourites this time around. It is LA Galaxy who get us underway, attacking from right to left, back to Glesnes, who made a welcome return to the side last week. One ball forward for Arbor Miller, and Paintsel immediately coming to this left-hand side. He's one of the major talking points, Heath, because last week he had to go back into that number 9 role, and he'll start there again tonight.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for him. I like when Paintsel's in a high position. He tends to like the ball behind the back line. He'll swim that back line. If they can find some of that verticality early on in success, it might actually play into their favor, because the Galaxy do have tendencies to try to play underneath, try to build up and break down through passing. The more direct they can play, maybe it skips a few lines and is able to break some lines of pressure against the Vancouver Whitecaps, who do want to press high in this one.
And Vancouver is certainly going to play out of the back. You saw that there with Takioka, even under pressure. All back with Glesnes. Played into the middle of midfield for Sanabria. He had a good performance last week. Marco Royce. Cuevas, who continues to hold on to that right back position. Glesnes, he was the big defensive reinforcement, and they certainly missed him when he wasn't available. Timely return last week, and good to see him in the starting 11 for consecutive weeks in Major League Soccer. Heath, what is the key for the Galaxy to go on the kind of run the fans hope and get a win against a marquee side in the Western Conference here tonight?
Well, I think it's important to take what the game gives them. I think at times the Galaxy want to implement themselves onto the game and really stick to their style of play. What I mean by that is what I mentioned before, of trying to break down teams in possession. Yes, they can get out in transition, but they're a very different looking side now. And so if that means playing direct a couple of times, win those knockdowns, try to play a little bit further up the field, and maybe play against the way in which the Vancouver Whitecaps want to play. Press higher up the field, win in transitional moments, things like that, that can really get them off to a good start, and very different than what we've seen from the Galaxy in the past. So maybe taking what the game gives them in a different way.
Saw that LA Galaxy lined up at the bottom of the screen. Same 11 as last week. They're on the back foot here. Chance to cross. That one took a deflection, and it's knocked out of play by Glesnes, who was half-hearted appeals on that left-hand side that it might have come off in arm. It's going to be an early corner kick here for Sebastian Berhalter, a man who's been in team of the match day 4 times already this season. A man who's hoping to have a very busy summer. Berhalter over this set piece leads his side with 6 assists on the campaign.
Berhalter, such a great example of a player who's had the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs in his young career, but is an example of a player who didn't give up, found himself sort of on the outside looking in, and now knocking on the door for a World Cup.
Corner kick delivery. Badwell White at the edge of the 6. The runners coming a little bit deeper and easily cleared. It wasn't the best delivery from Sebastian Berhalter. And these are the moments that Galaxy fans want to see more Peck. With a touch for Paintsel. Greg Vanny mentioned that specifically. One of the benefits of Paintsel playing central is he gets some of his best players a little bit closer together as we take a look at that Vancouver 4-2-3-1 lineup. Badwell, the only change, should reference he was going to start. He was going to start on the right, so Muller's late scratch meant Sammy came back into the side to make up the starting 11. Here is Vancouver in possession. Tate Johnson, challenge in the middle of midfield. That ball goes out of play. Lots of noise around Vancouver over the last couple of weeks, Heath. And the most amazing thing is how the players, how the coaches have just put it all to the side and continued to deliver on the field.
It's been incredibly impressive just in terms of their focus on each and every game, talking about the city, talking about the fans, talking about history, but more importantly, just trying to represent that city with pride through a tumultuous period, very complicated one, but very, very professional from the club.
Ball played in behind the read from Glesnes, former MLS Defender of the Year. Cleans up the danger well. Here's Miller. Ball played into the middle of midfield. Good football from the Galaxy, and they win a free kick. Nelson was trying to break forward. Greg Vanny had a very difficult start to last season. Well ahead of schedule this stage, but still well behind schedule in terms of what Galaxy fans want and expect.
Interestingly, in our conversation with Greg Vanney, he talked about how he just wants to have his team on the field, and the more to put out on the field.
They have started games well this year. They've been quick off the mark in a number of games. Charlotte springs to mind at home. They've got 5 goals in the opening 15 minutes of games this season. That is a positive. More play forward for Badwell, who's been impressive when he has played this season. Savali trying to make the run in behind Glesnes, reads the danger well. Goes back to the man who's made himself comfortable in that number 1 spot, JT Marcinkowski.
Tough to really tell where he catches him, but the boot does go up nonetheless from Cuevas. Puts himself in a tough position, and these are the areas when you're playing on the road, and again, it's tough to say because the Vancouver Whitecaps haven't spent much time on the road this season, but they've got so much quality in the box when they're able to set up over it, whether that's Tristan Blackman, Brian White, aggressive runners who are more than capable and confident to be able to finish off a goal, which is a huge plus when you're playing on the road.
It was a real Achilles heel for the Galaxy last year defending set pieces. Not the case so far. They've only conceded 1 from set piece situations, but they haven't come up against Sebastian Berhalter's set piece deliveries yet. Lofted towards the far post, and I've set him up twice, Heath, and twice he's given 2 of his probably worst
You're
deliveries.
doing your part. You're doing your part. You know, you can't do it. Control what you can control. You're putting him in good spots. But obviously, Sebastian Berhalter, so much quality, and I like when he hits that ball with pace, when he hits that ball with some real intention. Very, very difficult to defend against. We've seen it a number of times. That one not so good.
Nelson, now unavailable today, so not that he wouldn't have kept his spot. Nelson, no, with a real left-back option for the Galaxy. Jesper Sorensen, what a start to the season he has overseen. Just 1 defeat, 1 blemish. That was when he played an understrength side against San Jose. But the caveat is only 1 game on the road. So now they have a mammoth road trip ahead of the World Cup break.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do. However, when we had a chance to talk to him, he mentioned, you know, that could go either way, right? You could have all your home games and not make the most of them. They've done a great job of taking advantage of it, and there's some real tough contact there.
And that's right in front of Jesper Sorensen. Blackman's down. Sanabria as well. That foot was very high.
Yeah, and then it's actually the plant foot, it looks like, from Blackman as it goes down that gets undercut as well. So it's a sequence of unfortunate events for both sides in that one.
I mentioned to Jesper Sorensen about Brian White and Sebastian Berhalter. He was quick to say, don't forget about Tristan Blackman. He's one of the best in the league in terms of World Cup hopefuls. Caught me in check, didn't he?
He did. He did. But I like a coach that sticks up for their players and, you know, wasn't necessarily trying to correct you, but more so add on to the fact that he's got that level of quality that hadn't been mentioned up to that point.
More of that, just about got that away. Painsel's pace is always going to be a problem. Here is Blackman, Ediano Campo. Campo knocking the ball forward for Badwell, a little push in the back from Hank. No free kick given. Referee allowing things to play out there. More contact. White and Kessler's neither gave an inch. Throwback to old style number 9 play.
Well, I actually like that from the LA Galaxy, right? You mentioned the keys to the game, and I think matching the physicality of Vancouver is going to be an important one. You're at home. You need to implement yourself a little bit.
Good approach play here. Nice turn. Ocampo's coming onto it. Ocampo, that was blocked. And the second effort from Berhalter, a couple of yards wide. Good approach play, but there was a moment of indecision between Sabi and Ocampo that really ended that move.
Just not quite on the same page. But watch the strike from Berhalter. Look at Brian White in the middle, just looking for a redirection on the flick, and if he gets a boot on any of that, that's going to be really tough for Marcinkowski to redirect his body and reset his feet, make a save. Good sequence from Vancouver Whitecaps.
The Whitecaps 4 straight wins since their only loss against Sabali. Just too much on that one for Sabi. Paintsel dropping back in. He goes down, and it will be a free kick. There's that 4-match winning streak. They've only played 1 road match. That was at Portland, which they won handily. They don't have a good record here, Heath, including a loss last year in which Jesper Sorensen said he's hoping for a bit of revenge today.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity, right? And I don't buy into historic stats year over year, but if you're the LA Galaxy and you know that, it's something that you can buy into, especially if you've been part of late season moments last year. It gives you that belief that you can take it to a team that's very difficult to play against.
Marco Royce just beaten to that one. Andres Cubas, many people's best number 6 in the league. He doesn't give you an inch. Cuevas, that one blocked by Johnson. That's going to be a fascinating battle. The Paraguayan, who we expect to face off against the US at the Open of the World Cup, not allowing an inch for Marco Royce. Peck, forced back again. Hack, that central midfield role. Nice touch in behind by Peck. Did it come off his own arm? It did. It's going to be a free kick against Gabriel Peck, and he's frustrated with that decision.
Yeah, Peck's had a couple clever moments so far in this match. Going to take the very best from Tate Johnson to be able to match up in this one, just to slow him down. But that's where you want Peck getting his touches, 1v1 scenarios up near the edge of the box, forcing defenders to make decisions. And you can see that ball just pops up into the arm. Not a lot of argument there. Unless you're the player on the ball, then you'd argue anything.
You weren't like that, were you?
No, absolutely not. I was better without the ball anyway.
Story of my career. Although miss your chance to see the biggest stars in North American soccer fresh off a global summer of soccer at the 2026 MLS All-Star Game presented by Chime in Charlotte on July 29th as MLS takes on Liga MX. Tickets are on sale now at mlssoccer.com/all-star. Always a great occasion. Many of these, particularly Vancouver side of things, players will be expected to be involved. Thomas Muller did travel, by the way. You can see the lineup. He's in the building, we're told, but picked up an illness earlier today and unable to start. That presents an opportunity for others. Talk about hitting the jackpot when you go out and get that big name player. He has delivered from day one, Thomas Muller, on and off the field.
That's phenomenal. It's just great to see. Not that you require a scouting network to sign a player like Thomas Muller, but as clubs become more robust and more sophisticated, to see success stories.
Oh, Emmy Gus, that was cheeky.
That's when you're a center back. You put your hands to the teammates around you. You say, relax, I got this. Nothing to worry about.
Another giveaway. Now, alarming trends here from the Galaxy. Sabi really playing inside that pocket. Ocampo getting wide, who's a former winger. Ocampo turned into a fullback by Jesper Sorensen. On board of that. Johnson. Sabali trying to go inside. Kubas. So many things to like about the way the Whitecaps have started the season. The creativity, second in XG in all of Major League Soccer. 1 defeat and White, 8 goals leading the way. Marcis. Back for Marcinkowski. It was Mitrovic who started the season as the number 1, and for the second straight year he started the season as number 1. And by game 10, he found himself on the bench.
Yeah, there's certain clubs that, San Diego FC being one of them, that want to sort of do away with the stigma of always having a number 1 goalkeeper. But in my experience as a player, you want to have that security of somebody behind you that you trust, you can build that rhythm with. JT Marcinkowski has really stepped up into this one after his long-term injury, really coming back to life and leading this side.
Really good build out here. Paintsel trying to break. Paintsel right down the middle. He's got options out wide, trying to play it into the path of Peck, and it just came off the back of a Vancouver. Have a goal kick build out. The 60th minute against Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. And when we followed up with them, it was the question of why. And it wasn't until they looked back at it to realize that a lot of it was because of their pressing game high up the field that they prevented goal kicks against, that they weren't forced into deep scenarios. That was partially due to their pressing game, but also at times playing a little bit more direct and not trying to build through your back line where you're giving up opportunities.
Big win against RSL. Anybody who watched RSL play earlier today will see just what a quality victory that was. They were excellent in taking 3 points against Portland Timbers. Gozo and Luna leading the way again. Paintsel half-turned, and Blackman just seemed to get a hold of his jersey. Paintsel asking for a yellow. I think that might be a little bit too much, but he does win the free kick.
Paintsel signaling that's the third time been brought down here early in the match. And I don't love when Paintsel comes really deep to get his touches. I don't mind it, but that means you need to have some counter movement providing that verticality, because if your highest line is checking back that deep, it makes it very predictable for Tristan Blackman to take that risk to follow him into midfield. What you want is, if he follows him, you want that run over the top from a Harbour Miller to stretch the game and force Blackman to have to play honest.
Plays this, trying to play it towards Peck, and Lee Johnson dealing with that one comfortably. Garcia's little flick back, and Sabi on his shoulder. Marcinkowski just eases that ball out to the left, and Nelson, Miller, not on the same wavelength. Albert Miller, talented teenager from the academy.
Why don't you take the ball, Eddie?
Jesper Sorensen getting a little bit animated on the sideline. By the way, Jesper Sorensen, a man you played against towards the end of his career.
Yeah, very beginning of my career, not to age him, because most stats age myself now. When I had just gotten to Denmark, he was playing for AGF, who's, if I remember correctly, my very first professional match away from home. He was a player that was well regarded. Remember the name and remember the career that he had had. It's crazy to see how small this footballing world is and to see the success he's having on the sideline.
From day one with Vancouver, he's highly regarded as a player back home, and now one of the most highly regarded managers in all of Major League Soccer. Galaxy, normally quick starters, been stifled so far. Garces. He's not in for Royce. Look how deep he's had to come to get on the ball. That pressure coming from Vancouver. Jesper Sorensen saying, we will play our... Johnson, cross in. Sabi makes a good run. What a save! Marcinkowski somehow keeps it out. Sabi blasted when it looked destined for the back of the net. Marcinkowski to the rescue.
And again, this all comes from a build-up from the LA Galaxy, trying to be too cute. Not a clear plan on how they're trying to break pressure.
This exclusive NetCam replay is brought to you by AT&T. Look how good this save really is.
It's a phenomenal save. And yeah, it doesn't require much, but him just staying big. Marcinkowski keeping this game at zeros. Again, the Galaxy trying to play through a tight space. That allows Vancouver Whitecaps to win the ball in a very advantageous area. 1-2 passes, and they find themselves an opportunity in front of the goal.
Sebastian Berhalter set piece. I'll leave it at that. Lots of activity in the sixth. Laborda making the run towards a near. It's a free header, and it's right into the grateful hands of Marcinkowski. Sabi was the man involved again. He really should have done better.
Yeah, it's an opportunity wasted. You mentioned the quality of that chance from Sebastian Berhalter. Plays it perfectly. And those are moments when you're playing on the road. You have to have that ruthless mentality, but also the quality to be clinical and in front goal, you don't know how many of those chances you're going to get. Just a chance wasted for the Whitecaps.
Blackman, Laborda. 2 goals and 4 assists already on the season for Matthias Laborda. A man who can play in just about every position in that back line, and he did that last year. Takaoka, very dangerous ball. And Miller does well to press and deny the forward progress of Black. But that's the confidence of Yohei Takaoka. Here's that delivery and the free header.
Yeah, just somehow breaking free, a very crowded area. You see both Garces and Glesnes, who should be the better ones from an aggression standpoint and organization standpoint.
Sabali finds him, pull back to the edge of the box. Berhalter, really well worked routine from the Whitecaps, just not the finish they were looking for.
Very efficient run from Tate Johnson, just creating that overload 2v1 scenario. Nice little cutback. Berhalter had a lot of work to do from that position, but a player of his quality, you expect him to try to keep that a little lower and put it on frame.
Well, Formula One brings the heat to South Beach with the Miami Grand Prix at the Miami International Autodrome. Expect drama, celebrity sightings, and wheel-to-wheel action. Watch it live tomorrow on Apple TV, the new US home of Formula One. We had incredible drama this weekend in Miami with that Inter Miami-Orlando game as the foul goes against Sabali on Peck. You watched that one, Heath, earlier? 3-0 up into Miami. We thought it was done.
I mean, every time I checked in with you in the booth, you're like, have you checked the score? Have you seen the score? It was wildly different than it was moments before that. As we see Peck just catch that shot from behind from Sabali.
Royce, 4 goals. Play, rather surprisingly. How much of a concern is that? 1 goal for Gabriel Peck, 1 goal for Joseph Paintsel.
That's extremely concerning, right? And you don't have a Ricky Puig that requires so much attention at all times that allows them to be in much more isolated 1v1 scenarios. There's certainly players that are discussed heavily in any pregame conversation from their opponent, but definitely concerning in terms of those numbers, because you start to look around and say, okay, if it was spread out across the entire team, you wouldn't be so concerned. But you need more production from the star players. They're getting themselves in good positions. Peck at times being a little bit too cute, too clever, trying to be perfect in front of goal, and
Savale trying to get another cross, and that one just too much on it.
And Paintsel at times not having that clinical nature, which we know at times he struggles with, but you expect after the quality that we saw in 2024, those levels to continue to rise. Still early in the season.
In MLS Cup last season, the drop-off was alarming. So far, struggles in front of goal continue. Hack. Glesnes. Cuevas.
And it's worth noting that those stats become more polarizing because you don't have a Joao Klaus on the field right now, who has been successful for this team so far this year.
Big blow. Lovely touch in behind from Nelson. Albert Miller, first real chance for him to run at that back four. Miller gets his cross in. Joseph Paintsel takes it well, goes for goal, and it was just blocked at the last moment there. Laborda and Blackman close.
I like the efficiency from Paintsel here. Doesn't try to hold on to the ball too long. Gets stuck a little bit under him, you'll see here, but he's able to get it out from under his body and get a shot up. By that point, Matthias Laborda steps in, makes a big play. Really well defended 1v1 scenarios, and that's the mentality that the Whitecaps have defensively. It's just always assuming that first player is going to get beat, and that second player has to step in and make a big play.
Campbell hounded by Harbour Miller to go back inside. Almost like it's the mandate for him to just not allow Campbell to get forward. Manuel has come to the right, where he was initially slated to start. He's being quiet, Sammy's being quiet. Kick as well. The Galaxy have won 2 of the 5 home matches in Major League Soccer this season. Thomas Muller is here, as we said, watching on. And right Q showing us he did pick up an illness, a bit of a cough as we
Specifically wanted to see him play, but also for the Whitecaps, he's just such a great leader. Jesper Sorensen talked about when they see a guy like him on the field that's willing to do the work. It shows all the young players that you got to show up and you got to train hard, you got to do the work day in.
Vancouver playing that one out for Campo. Good battle with Miller, and he does well this time. He out muscles and plays the ball in behind. White, Marcinkowski, really quick off his line. That's very clever goalkeeping.
Marcinkowski putting himself out in no man's land, just having that confidence that he can get to that ball first. Really smart play, early read.
Blackman, and then equally good defensive work from Harbour Miller to make it difficult. Berhalter has that range in him. Cuevas reads this one.
See, as soon as Berhalter
Borda, Campo. Borda, Campo. Takes that touch inside. It's scrappy in these areas for both teams. Just lacking that final ball. Classic example. Campo giving away a good play from Sabali to get back in and make something of it. Sabali still going. Out wide for Sabi. Sabi on his left foot. That one takes a deflection. It's going to fall for a Campo and completely off balance. Well wide. Ramos Jr. a striker. And good news for Jesper Sorensen. Renko Veselinovic has been out for almost a year now. Back and available among the subs as well. Really built well by Jesper Sorensen.
Well, that's why I think this is a great test for them, right? No. You know, A1 in your lineup allows them to test themselves. So they're going to have to go.
End of it. Good movement between those two.
You can see when the gap. Needed to be perfect in that situation, given there's 4 or 5 players behind the ball. But that's the right idea. Win the ball quickly, get down to goal as fast as possible. Just needs a little bit of extra quality.
Mentioned that Joao Klaus injury, he is unavailable. It's at least a return from that World Cup break. Kind of a mini season right now. It's interesting. You get the 14, 15 games and the coaches get to regroup.
Real chance to take a look and get some time on the field. I know a lot of coaches have felt that the schedule congestion early on for playing in multiple competitions.
But he just couldn't redirect it back on target.
Really good ball, good patience, just head up, trying to pick out the pass. Really like this from Tate Johnson. Tate Johnson so far spending most of his time along that back line in a conservative way, but not afraid to just spring out in transitional moments, get forward.
15th pick in the MLS draft last year. There's still value in play. Royce just struggling to stamp his authority going forward. It again just out-muscled. He's claiming it was a jersey pull. Marcinkowski.
It's good to have a center midfield with that mentality. If you're going to play those risky type of passes that gets cut out, just to pounce on it quickly, try to win it back in the way that they did. Gives you confidence to take the risk in those types of passing lanes.
Savali, Berhalter. White trying for that little flick. White, Peck, paints.
That's where the ideas start to run out. That's where you hope to have a little bit more selfishness. The attacking trio. At times paint, so go alone, be decisive. Don't slow down your attack. Same thing with Peck. Go quick, make a decision. Believe in yourself. It feels like when they start to get in and around the box, they're looking for somebody else to maybe step up and solve the problem. That quality is causing a little bit of a disconnect.
In their approach, Vancouver, they're not rushed, they're not hurried about going forward, and Galaxy through too, and not necessarily what he's noted for as a player. Ball goes the other way, and off the back of Peck into the grateful path of Tate Johnson. Badwell. Johnson in for Kubas. Berhalter was going to run forward, checked his run, and again. Some touches for Berhalter. Savvy, who's been really quiet. Royce playing from Sanabria as well. And he tries to spring back, but what a read from the border. And he well. So we're going to have a minimum of two additional. Two sides battling it out, and
for Brian White on the back post.
Badwell trying to turn Hack, just showing his strength there as he gets back in position and wins the goal kick. Do you get a sense after a half like this who would be the happier of the coach with how things have gone so far?
I'd say probably the Whitecaps, right? If you're the Galaxy, you're at home, you've got quality on the field, and more than anything, we haven't really seen the specifics as to how they plan to break down the Whitecaps, who look very organized. Whitecaps again playing on the road. They don't look all that threatened. They have to be happy with it. They've had a couple of decent looks as the away team. He may feel a little bit different there. Jesper Sorensen may be feeling a little bit like the team has underperformed given the opportunities that he feels out there. 3 points for the taking in his eyes.
Not as free-flowing an LA Galaxy side as we've seen in past seasons, but very effective so far, defensively at least.
I like that from the Galaxy. They've been numbers behind the ball, which I like.
Sammy Badwell, you kind of referenced that in your keys in terms of that one of the things they had to do well against Vancouver. Whitecaps winning this one back with Blackman. Campo. Laborda. Lesnes putting a lot of pressure on White. Been a fascinating battle to watch between those two. Savali up against Cuevas. Goes on his right foot and blasts well over. Lesnes again was coming out making it difficult.
And a good read by Glesnes, as you mentioned, to come out early, force him to put his head down, have a shot from a difficult position.
And Jesper Sorensen thought the referee was going to talk to Marcinkowski about time wasting. He's not. It's the halftime whistle. The big moment of the match was Sabi. He brought a top-class save from Marcinkowski. 0-0 after 45. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with a recap of all of the first half action. to Southern California. Welcome back to Dignity Health Sports Park. LA Galaxy 0, Vancouver Whitecaps 0. At the break, and there is going to be a change. Evan Surrey, who's been struggling with shin splints, is going to come on, and he is going to replace Marco Royce. The supporter cap brought to you by Ball. Celebrating before the start of this in front of the brand new statue for our good friend Kobe Jones. One of the best statues, by the way, I have ever seen.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done. You don't get a lot of statues right that we've seen around the world, but that one's phenomenal, fantastic, and well-deserved for an absolute legend.
And the Galaxy fans who've been treated over the years to some of the best soccer in all of Major League Soccer. Difficult year last year, but hoping to cheer their side on and back to the playoffs this campaign. They've been getting behind the side of the first half, but it'll be interesting to see the makeup of that midfield now, because it's not like the light. Surreal, more of a holding midfielder.
Yeah, very defensive, right? That puts a lot more on Lucas Sanabria to have to drive the game a little bit more forward and connect the game into the attack. I liked when the Galaxy were trying to maybe skip that line at times, get players underneath, win the knockdowns, and get off in the attack that way. Certainly more of a possession-oriented player in Cerrillo. See where he lights up and who moves a little further up the field.
Holter has got on the ball, but unable to provide the finishing touches, even not reaching the standards that we're so used to seeing on set pieces. Everybody watching on difficult campaign last year. It was mid-season when they picked up the very first win at home against RSL. More competitive so far to start this campaign, but these are the kind of games that can really kickstart your season. Holter usually launching one forward to that right-hand side. Savvy on the turn. One of those attacking players we really didn't talk a lot about Heath in that first half. First week, Jesper Sorensen, what would his message have been to his side at half-time to improve and clean up some of those issues in the final third in the second half?
I think they got into a couple good spots, so I'd say you have to be more clinical in those moments. You're playing on the road. If we get those chances, if we earn those chances, we're going to put in the work to get those opportunities. We have to make the most of them. And then have confidence in those 1v1 scenarios. At times it feels like they get into some good spots and maybe put their foot on the ball.
Well, there's a giveaway. Sanabria onto it like a flash. Plays it forward for Painter. Painter and a goal. He scores. Painter rifles it home. But that is all Vancouver's doing. They gave the ball away. And the Galaxy took full advantage. 1-0.
Watch Sanabria on this play. He starts to step out nice and early. Good early pressure from Paintsill. But Sanabria reads it quickly. And there's Paintsill just waiting in a perfect spot. At first you wonder why he takes a touch as he closed his gap. But he absolutely belts that ball into the back of the net. And Takaoka, who likes to keep possession, fancies himself a player comfortable on the ball as a goalkeeper, but gets absolutely punished on the turnover. And Paintsill roofs that ball. Really well finished. And I love the effort from Sanabria to create that play.
Just a second goal in Major League Soccer this season for Joseph Paintsill. And he was almost nonchalant with the finish. He made that look easy. Far from it. Absolutely rifled it home.
He took that touch at first, and I thought, he had to tap it at that point. And then when he slows it down, you have a player like Takaoka who's looking to make up for a mistake. He's going to make a big play there. What we saw on Paintsill's first of the year, really hitting the ball well when he's putting it on frame. Very difficult to stop. Well done, and a great start for the LA Galaxy here in the second half.
And Greg Vanny had referenced it, a different type of midfielder, Sanabria. He was comparing him to Mark Delgado, who he used to have here at LA Galaxy. He said he can win the ball, he's combative, and it was his combative nature that led to that goal.
Well, when he asked what's gonna have to happen for this team to be successful this year, he mentioned a lot of that's on the development of Sanabria, the level of player he's going to be when he talked about what's this midfield going to look like throughout the season. Obviously a hard-nosed ball winner. Maybe he's going to make the game for you offensively. But in those transitional moments, you put pressure on a team, you win a turnover, it's all because of his effort.
There's a strong challenge. Vancouver a little bit rattled here to begin this second half. Conceded a goal, now conceding the free kick. Blackman going to ground, and then there's another challenge from Berhalter on the wrong side. Here's the player scenario. Look, he'd gone down.
Taking a notch to the right, yeah, it makes it feel a lot better, a lot quicker when it's your effort that leads to a goal. But again, we talked about that in the first half of Galaxy, maybe finding ways to defend higher up the field so that they don't have to break down an entire 11 in their build play. They did that one perfectly. Obviously, bad turnover, but did it well.
Willis, good delivery. Takayoko was coming for it. Blackman didn't want to risk it, didn't leave it for his goalkeeper. Bit of indecision there from Vancouver. I just love seeing players show that kind of emotion for things that many others will overlook. The winning the ball, the tracking down, and he's done that well tonight, Sanabria.
Well, at times, games are won and lost in the details, and when you're a player that prides themselves on putting out effort, but maybe the results haven't been your way, to have things lean your way once in a while can be a great relief and a great feeling.
Turn from Paintel here. More of a spring in the step of the Galaxy going forward. This is the win probability. Heavily in favour of Vancouver at the beginning. Heavily in favour of Vancouver no more. The Galaxy have taken control. Incidentally, that switch has allowed Sanabria to be a little bit more advanced. Almost in that Royce role. And played a part as well. Cuevas. Lovely ball inside for Sanabria. But his pocket picked really well by Cuevas. Bad ball. Sabali making a run central. Bad ball. Pulls it back for Sabali. Good defending from Garces. Really good read.
Great last-ditch effort from Garces there to come back. And those are the moments you mentioned. Sanabria gets picked, and they quickly transition into attack. Jivan Badwal almost puts in a wonderful ball.
Under the Galaxy have made one change from the side that started the game. Marco Royce off at the break. I hope that's just precautionary. The game's coming up. Edwin Soria on. Joseph Painter in the middle of that front three, and the man with the only goal so far. Sabi. Badwal's running behind again. Walter slipping a lovely ball in behind. Johnson tries to pull it back. Badwal and Sabali almost got in each other's way as they set up for that one. It's a tame effort in the end by Sabali. Vancouver lineup, in fact, same as at the beginning. The big news, of course, at the beginning of the game was no Thomas Muller. He is in the building. Late scratch from this starting 11, and you'd have to say, looking at them going forward, they have missed the inventiveness, the creativity of Thomas Muller.
Yeah, and more than anything, just the efficiency he brings to the game. And you would have thought the same thing in the first half from Marco Royce, but we didn't see a whole lot from him. But for Mueller, especially looking at the result now, chasing a moment, and the times that they've gotten in and around the box, maybe lacked that bit of creativity. You could really use him on a night like this.
Good pressure again from Sanabria. That's the difference with him higher. He's going to make it more difficult defensively than Marco Royce. Blackman, the space going the other way for Sammy. Tracking back in from Nelson and Paintel, and that's going to be a Galaxy ball. Long way away from it, Heath, but if the Galaxy can get back-to-back wins against the very impressive RSL, against Vancouver, consensus, one of the best teams in Major League Soccer, this is something you can build upon as you move forward.
Yeah, I think at times when we think about the LA Galaxy, you expect them to get a result every game because they're the LA Galaxy, the history that they have. The pressure comes with that. team like Vancouver, who are one of the best in Major League Soccer in every single way, very difficult to stop. It could be a huge momentum swing for the LA Galaxy if they can get a result on this one and start to build on.
And he just runs into the border. The free kick is going to be given. Rick Valley turns around, he has his say. It's going to be a free kick. The border just got across, got position. Referee explaining to Gabriel Peck why it's just a free kick.
We've seen both managers into their technical areas animated tonight so far, haven't we?
Points on the line. Western Conference dominance on the line. Galaxy looking to get themselves back in the mix at the top end of the West. Cuevas, good angle on that cross as well, but well defended. And it's actually going to be a flag. Well drilled offside line from the Whitecaps. They don't often have to play from behind. Let's see how they respond. Laborda. Stepping in as well. Somali. Johnson back well going out wide. Just too much on it. It rolls out of play harmlessly. Just trying to make that Thomas Muller style run, Jeevan Bagwell, from central to wide. Lots of conversation on that sideline right now for the Whitecaps. The matchday results are presented by AT&T. Big win for Atlanta over Montreal. Minnesota winning on the road. And last time, Heath, we spoke, we said LAFC were about to fall to defeat. Not the case. They got a late leveler against San Diego.
I didn't say that. I said they were trying. San Diego was trying to close out that game.
90 plus 14, by the way.
That's incredible.
That's late.
San Diego just unable to really get in that rhythm here in the early goings of the season.
It's mean for a beating there. Somali used to come inside too. He forced him into this central channel. Just manages to get that ball through for a count, but he's not got forward as he likes to. Back for Blackman. Really good defensive shape here from LA Galaxy. Kubas. Verholter. Savali. No overlap coming this time from Dane Johnson, and a poor ball. Easily read again by Glesnes. Just look a different side defensively with him in the side.
There's a bit of calm when he's on the field. His organization. I think that's going to be a big theme for the LA Galaxy here. They've got the goal that they need. Yes, I'm sure they'd love to have a little bit more of a cushion, but it's going to be that discipline and organization. They got good numbers behind the ball in the first half. Things were level. Now can they keep that same level of discipline to protect that lead here in the second?
Traveling through, and Takeoku will allow it to come into his penalty area. So, and if it stays this way, we'll see the Galaxy jump up into the playoff positions in ninth. Just 5 points out of fourth place in Seattle Sounders. Big match on the horizon between those two. Sabali. Good win back again in the middle of midfield. This time Surreal. Peck. Johnson on the back foot. Peck. Really good footwork from him. Goes through the legs of the border and then just runs into one too many Whitecaps. Again, Kubas to help. Sabali. Just feel like Peck is forcing things at times when he needs to pass up a little bit quicker. Garces relentless with that challenge. Be careful in those situations. Berhalter. Johnson. Badwell. Johnson. That was blocked by Hack. Steely resolve here, Heath, of LA Galaxy. Everybody behind the ball.
Yeah, that's where you need that organization. It's one thing to have numbers behind the ball. It's another thing to have active numbers behind the ball. Sometimes you get a little bit of that safety blanket when you have numbers there, but if you're not organizing, pushing players out, extending, really releasing players around you, it can be a bit of a false comfort. I think to go back to your point, Gabriel Peck, it's going to be really important for the Galaxy to have a few moments where they put their foot on the ball, keep possession, turn it into a end-to-end game where it starts to get big and spread out.
And it's safe to say Jesper Sorensen's not happy with what he's seen because he's going to make 3 offensive moves here. AZ is going to come on. Looks like Kenji Cabrera is coming on as well. Caicedo as well, another U22 initiative player. Ecuadorian. A goal and a couple of assists on the season as well. Easy, who started an open night against Oris and actually scored in that game. So not working as of yet for Vancouver, so they are going to try something different. Nelson. Narcissus. Hack. When he talked about his ability to drop in and be a third centre back, we see him doing it there. Cuevas, that was quicker from Peck, and it springs Cuevas in behind. Cuevas lots of daylight, still he goes, can he deliver the cross? He can, and it's off a defender, and out. That was dangerous, that could have gone anywhere off the foot of a Campo, but lovely play down this right-hand side from the Galaxy, involving Peck and Mauricio Cuevas.
That's exactly what you want. You want that defensive line facing their own goal, tracking back, having to make a last-ditch effort. And Ocampo makes a huge stop towards his own net. Is able to get that one wide of any danger. But good, quick combination play from Cuevas and Peck to bring that play to life.
They all bit on Peck. Nobody saw that run coming of Cuevas. Really good play. Cuevas. Good angle on the cross. Flick it. Full post just wide. This exclusive Netcam replay is brought to you by AT&T. Here's that delivery. How close was it?
Just a redirect to the back post. There's Sanabria. Had a lot to do, was fully extended, tries to redirect it back on frame. You hope that's an opportunity that doesn't come back to haunt them later on.
Sami, Sabali, and Kubat's interesting in here. So it looks like Badwell's going to drop a line. AZ can play central. Caicedo's come straight to his left-hand side. AZ is going across to the right.
And that means, as you mentioned, Badwell will play off the shoulder, and Berhalter a little more connected, and we know how much comfort on the ball John Badwell has.
His first touch getting flicking behind. Hack. Loses out. Did he give away the free kick? Referee's going to say play on. Caicedo. Ball in behind for Cabrera. The subs trying to combine it again. Glesnes is so strong, so powerful. Sure, there's some Philly Union fans watching as well. Wondering what it would be like to have that man back. They miss him too.
Yeah, especially in a season like this where things haven't gone your way. Having that just leadership, let alone the quality that he has. Experience he brings to any team. Like Greg Vanny talked about just what he's added to this squad with that type of experience.
Strong challenge from Sevilla. Referee says play on. Marcinkowski. To be a spectator since that early save from Sabi. Campo. Badwell. Easy. The referee does blow the whistle belatedly. These are the moments that the Galaxy have done really well in. Those 50-50s, those duels.
Yeah, and again, that comes from a long ball from Marcinkowski. And I like that. When you have a player like Paintsill up high who's going to put in the energy and challenge, you got to get players up underneath to win those knockdowns. And the couple of times that the Galaxy have played direct like that, there's a bit of a gap right now, especially with Badwell now in that position, that they can win those knockdowns and potentially be facing the field on the attack.
As Sorensen referenced to us, Heath, about setting a high intensity in this game, and Galaxy have matched it, particularly defensively. Lovely touch from AZ. Berhalter, Sanabria, and he's going to pick up a yellow. A little trap there as Sebastian Berhalter was driving forward.
Clever play from AZ to flick that one on. That allows him to drive forward. Sebastian Berhalter then facing the field, and yep, not a lot of argument on that one. Sanabria just arriving a little bit late. We talked about set pieces maybe being the difference in this one. Good chance for Caps to set up shop and put together something, put a ball in a dangerous area with some players hunting in the box.
They've got 9 set-piece goals if you include the 4 penalty kicks this year, so they are prolific in that regard. Leeds MLS. Austin in there with 7 with no penalty scored. But it is because of the ability to deliver high quality. Ball played in, Marcinkowski punches clear. Cabrera tracks this one down the sub. They loft the ball towards the far post, and again Glesnes. And Paintsill trying to come the other way. Good play from Ocampo. Good play equally back from Paintsill. That's going to be a yellow card. Joseph Paintsill worked his way into that position. He battled to win the ball back, and he gets his rewards.
That's the type of effort you want from Joseph Paintsill. Just keeping that play alive. And look at this little flick past Ocampo. He earned every right. That yellow card. I like the duel between the two of them. But that's what I like again about Paintsill when he's that highest player. He's just got that power and speed. He can hold up. His first touch isn't the greatest when his back is to the goal that he's trying to attack, but he has that effort that he puts in and can really make it difficult to win that ball against him.
Looking towards Paintsill. Easy win for Blackman. They've lost that little bit of steel with Kubas going off. They've taken the gamble. Vancouver, can the Galaxy take advantage of that? AZ. Badwell. AZ looking for the return and the free kick given for the foul on Badwell. And it's going to be yellow as well. Been a couple of challenges from Surreal since he's come on. I think it's a combination of that.
Alexis Silva just trying to keep control of this game, not let it get too far out of reach. And yeah, there's the arrival there. Surreal just a little bit late from behind. But we saw the physicality in the first few minutes, and then things settled in a bit. We're starting to see some of that physicality come out again.
Easy. Not playing on that wing, he's coming inside, and Surreal's got to be careful. He's involved again there. That looked like it was a foul. Badwell, and Goss is clearing that one just about anywhere. Came on and off last week, Surreal. He's had the issue with his shins, the pain to play. It's such an integral part of that midfield for a couple of seasons. I say that. Back for Cabrera. Berhalter. Blackman. Possession in front of that Galaxy defensive shape. Shape that is yet to be breached. Cabrera. Nice footwork from him. Cabrera. AZ just caught underneath his feet. That was a lovely play from Kenji Cabrera to get himself in that position. Touch back. Ocampo. AZ goes for goal, and it's comfortable for Marcinkowski, but it's first real action of the second half.
Yeah, a little better from the Whitecaps in terms of the attack. You mentioned Cabrera. When you're sitting in deep blocks like that, it can be hard to break down through just passing. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra individual quality to unlock an opponent, be able to face the game and drive at somebody, force defenders to have to make decisions in short amounts of time.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup is almost here, and you have the chance to secure your spot today with a single-match hospitality package. Premium seats and suites, elevated food and beverages, exclusive entertainment, and much more. Book today at FIFAWorldCup.com/hospitality. Many days? Less than 50, right?
Yeah.
Wow. We've been talking about World Cup 2026 for so long, and it's almost upon us. Hopes
Are we less than 40?
Yep, we might be.
Extremely high hopes for the U.S. A lot of pressure. That's why we do it, right?
Yes. This first game at SoCal, not far from here. It's Andres Cubas to Paraguay. No easy games at the World Cup. Easy games at Nightfall. High-flying Vancouver. Galaxy. Over 20 minutes away from back-to-back wins at home against top-tier Western Conference opposition. Bad roll. Right inside the area, AZ goes down. Referee says play on. Peck trying to get him behind. Good play from Johnson. That's a difficult matchup for anybody. Direct play of Peck, but Peck Johnson has done very well. Caicedo getting ahead of steam, still going one place, and Glesnes again to the rescue.
The speed and power of Caicedo on that step over. I'd be a little nervous if I was defending him. The speed he took off of, but well defended by Glesnes, and Marcinkowski gets that redirect.
Yeah, less nervous if you have Glesnes behind you. He's one of the candidates for man of the match. Yes, we saw it. I think Tom was waiting to winning that throw in.
Remember in the first half, he was yelling at Ocampo to pick up the ball and throw it in. He didn't do it. They ended up giving the ball to the Galaxy. Gamesmanship.
Is it as simple as saying no Muller tonight? That's been the issue, or is it taken away from the credit of how good defensively the Galaxy have been?
I think the Galaxy have been sound defensively. Even better now that you have a Cerrillo on the field. They look a little bit more compact through the middle of the park. But things could be different.
Holter, the cross for wide. Marcinkowski comes out, and it's gone just wide. There was no whistle. The goalkeeper, in a real physical battle, he stepped down. White got a touch on it. Luckily for the Galaxy, it goes wide of the post.
And these are the moments when the goalkeeper leaves this line. If you're Marcinkowski, you got to go through everyone. Even that little bit of hesitation we'll see here. This is a great ball from Sebastian Berhalter to the back post. Marcinkowski's there early, but instead of trying to punch and clear the lines, he's looking to catch that one clean. That's just way too low shoulder height. If you have the ability to get that on full extension, arms up high, that's different. But against the Brian White, who's going to put his head in places where you don't want to put your foot, he'll challenge anything. Maybe the Galaxy get away with one there.
Elijah Winder is getting ready to come on for the Galaxy. That 23-year-old midfielder who came across from Louisville in USL. 9 appearances on the season. 3 of those have come off the bench. It'll be interesting to see who sacrificed here. Is it a midfielder for an attacker? Herrera, Sanabria. He's a forward for Paintel. Berhalter on the second ball well.
I think one of the benefits that they have now, especially with this lead with a Sanabria who's willing to cover the ground, is you have 3 hard-nosed midfielders. Walking off that middle of the park, whereas in the past we would have seen Marco Royce maybe not doing as much of the work on the defensive end. I say maybe lightly.
This would be a big win for the Galaxy because next three are on the road at Atlanta and SKC, who did beat them in this stadium. And at Seattle. So a difficult run. 3 of the last 4 on the travels. Makes it a lot easier when you take care of business at home. We're on the back foot here. Cross comes in, deflected. Caicedo, good block again from Glesnes. He has been everywhere. Given away cheaply. Berhalter goes for goal, and that one flashes wide. And Cuevas holds both hands up to apologise.
Yeah, this is not a situation the Galaxy want to be in. Sitting deep in their own blocks, in their own box rather. They're already setting up in a low block. Important for them to be able to push the lines out. Secure possession and keep it a bit.
The best assist of the match is presented by Lowe's. Our members score more, and it's the assist on the Joseph Paintsil goal by Lucas Sanabria.
That team effort first, that initial pressure from Paintsil, and it's Sanabria that releases out, sniffs that out, recognizes there's an opportunity there. He's willing to take that hit from behind, but Berhalter lays it off to Paintsil right in stride. He's able to put that one away. Huge.
Wonder is going to play that advanced role as well in midfield. Just ahead of Hank and Cerrillo. Maybe there's a wall in there. There's been no space for Vancouver to exploit. Caicedo, and that one really powerful run moment. Galaxy just dropping off and not giving him the space to attack now. Ocampo. AZ trying to flick that one in behind. Ocampo. Nice footwork again from Cabrera. The cross! Caicedo was attacking it. He got up, but it just missed his head. Johnson, good spell of sustained pressure here from the Whitecaps. Caicedo trying to play it across, but Glesnes well positioned. Wasn't a great ball in truth by Bruno Caicedo. Berhalter. Cabrera falls back as well. Blackman. Cabrera. Ocampo. No way through. Lots of bodies back in for the Galaxy.
A little more conviction now from the Whitecaps in terms of sustained pressure, sustaining possession long enough to forcing those turnovers. As soon as Galaxy win it, they're able to put pressure on it, win it back, and try to have a secondary or tertiary opportunity.
Galaxy are readying a couple of veteran moves here to come on. Nicky Imane and Ryan Yoshida both getting ready to enter the action. Reminder, tomorrow, Austin taking on St. Louis City. Sunday night soccer coverage beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern.
You'll be there.
Myself and Mo will do on the call for that one. Two sides in need of points.
The way you time travel is incredible.
I will be there, my friend. Well, these are the kind of performances we didn't necessarily see from the Galaxy last year, where they shut down shop and made it difficult for the opponents. Struggled defensively at times. Made some key additions in that regard. Hank in the middle of midfield. Glesnes. Cuevas starting to build. Whitecaps to possession. Not that much for Marsikowski to do. Easy. Caicedo takes it in stride. He uses pace again, but he comes back on his right foot. Cross towards the far post and Cabrera. Berhalter just trying to line it up, and Paintsil getting back in and doing the defensive work again. Taking the pressure off as they
Yeah, I like the effort, tracking back defensively. And you mentioned them closing out games like this with the Galaxy. You couldn't do this without a player like Jacob Glesnes, who's going to organize that back line, keep Garces in good spots. I think they've got the quality in the back line for the Galaxy in the past, but now you have that leadership as well of who owns that back line when we step, when we drop, who's holding everyone accountable. And then you can bring in players towards the latter parts of a match like a Miki Yamane, like a Maya Yoshida, who capable of starting. We didn't know whether or not he'd feature in this match, but Maya Yoshida will come on and bring his vast experience to try to close this game out as well.
And a man whose intelligence is not just on the field. He speaks so many different languages. He knits everybody together well. We take a look. Winder's actually got to that left wing. Amade goes in his trademark right back position. Certainly looks like three centre backs. They are going to shut up shop play.
Yeah, they are. And now it's important that, again, they continue to release pressure out in front of them. You don't want to drop deeper and deeper into your own box. Even if you can box defend with multiple numbers, you got to get pressure on the ball. You got to move players along. Galaxy have to find a way to try to sustain possession a couple of times, move up the field, give themselves a little bit of rest.
The goal tonight, the Galaxy continue a trend now, scored in 20 consecutive games in Major League Soccer, dating back to last season. I know one goal might be enough. We're playing the general direction of Yamane, just not enough pace on it. Caicedo. Badwell. Glesnes. Too strong into the back of Cabrera.
Smart play from Glesnes, gets pulled out of position. Last place that a center back wants to be is pulled out to the sideline, and it's going to make it worth his while if he has to go all the way out there, kill the attack.
Probing again with possession. Johnson, touch from Cabrera. Very good on that second phase. And then cheap free kick given away by Yamane.
These are not the areas you want to give Sebastian Berhalter opportunities to set up over the ball. They're in good shape defensively. You don't want to do anything in a cheap way.
When you're not creating from open play, set pieces can be the great leveller. The cross, and Vancouver has that leveller. Laporta takes the plaudits. How many times has he bailed the Whitecaps out in set-piece situations? But what a delivery from Berhalter as well. Vancouver are back on terms.
It's an absolutely massive moment. Look at this ball, just phenomenal. The pace on it freezes the back line, freezes JT Marcinkowski. Look where this is coming down. All he has to do is redirect. That ball is picture perfect. And at the perfect time, look at Laporta arriving in there. They brought in three center backs. You gave up a cheap foul from a wide area. And it's executed to a T by Sebastian Berhalter.
It is being checked for a possible offside. I'm going to say, at first look, I thought it was a good goal. Yep. Being involved. Agree.
On the same page,
Yes,
huh?
it's a good day.
I wasn't even looking. I was just looking at the quality of the ball.
That is Matthias Laporta's 7th goal involvement this season. He had 7 all of last season as well. So many times he pops up in those kind of situations.
Just a big moment player. And again, the quality of that ball. That's all I'm thinking about at that point in the game if I'm the LA Galaxy, is don't give up something cheap for Sebastian Berhalter, who hits one of the best set pieces in the league. That type of pace, especially from that angle, is an incredible ball.
You wonder, is it moments like that get him on that plane? I keep saying getting on the plane. The World Cup is here. They don't have to go anywhere.
They'll be on the plane.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I think so. When you look deep into the rosters, and I truly believe this with the national team squad, some of it's going to come down to such marginal differences between players is going to come down to that gut feeling. Is this a guy that can give me a set piece in the 90th minute of a game when I need him? Can I trust him? That very well may be the difference.
Scored a lovely goal against Uruguay at the back end of last year for the US, and that was his 7th assist. And the Galaxy, who changed everything for a game where they were leading 1-0, now have to find a way to get going the opposite way. Peck, quiet second half, but he's open in time and his pass goes down, and that's going to be a free kick penalty against the yellow. And he holds his hand up, no complaints.
Well, you say, wise beyond his years. Does he get absolutely burned on this play? Of course he does. Just bites on that first step over, but knows exactly what to do. You do not want Gabriel Peck to get off to the races. When he's past you, just pulls him down, eats the yellow card, and gives up a free kick in a position that's not all that advantageous for the LA Galaxy.
Gabriel Peck. We're not advocating for fouls like that, but it is the smart thing to do. Any defender or coach will tell you that. By the way, Laporta, 12 goals now as a defender for the Whitecaps. Only Kendall Boston as a defender has scored more goals for Vancouver. Incredible run. Fancy the chances of going on and turning this 1 point into even more. Berhalter, 11 goal contributions in his last 12 games. Goes down, and the Galaxy were hoping it wasn't going to be another free kick, and you can hear the complaints from Jesper Sorensen and co.
Get a bit aggressive from that sideline.
This isn't the win probability, and it's been up and down all game. Now, the draw obviously favoured, but if anybody's going to want to win it, they feel Vancouver might be that side. Change in a moment. Roy Laraz is on the sideline getting ready, the former Rapids midfielder. AZ trying to turn, trying to get away from pressure, and he loses out. Peck. Yamane getting forward. Peck wanted a free kick, referee says play on. Conceded not the touch he wanted. Ran right into the man mountain, that is Glesnes. Glesnes, lovely ball in behind Pencil, pulls it back, Warriors! Wilder coming in from the left, completely miscues it, and it goes well wide.
That's a huge, huge opportunity wasted for the LA Galaxy. Against the momentum of this match, they find themselves in a really good position, and the quality of the ball is there. Winder, not even close.
Camp, a good response from the Galaxy. That's the best they've generated since getting their goal, and they're coming forward again here. At some stage, you're going to explain to me what system the Galaxy are playing. Since the changes, this was the opportunity.
Well done from Glesnes again. Good team effort to win the ball there. I like Pencil consistently glancing to put that ball in. Winder just not making clean contact, unfortunately.
Another yellow card, this time Blackman, who knew exactly what he was doing when he stopped the forward progress of Joseph Paintsel.
Paintsel was hoping he'd get that yellow card for Blackman beginning of the first half.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing. There's another defender there. We're not going to see any more set pieces from Sebastian Berhalter because his night is done. Only Laraz, a more combative midfielder. Maybe to just shut down shop and pick up a point on the road. Played his part again, Heath. Another assist.
Yeah, just a really good performance from him again. I would probably hope to have been a little more impactful over his 90. When you look at the body of work, just really, really good and arrived in the biggest moments. The team needed him. He put on an Ollie Laraz, who, as you mentioned, hard-nosed midfielder. Going to play smart, cover ground, side to side. put out any fires necessary here in the closing moments.
Lesnar's again winning that battle. Sorillo. Yoshida. Sikowski taking no chances with that one. Winder on the board that piece. Right now, the man who's picked up the golden moment for the Whitecaps laid on. Another goal. 12th in MLS over the course of his career for the Whitecaps. Cabrera has had some lively moments as well since coming on, the Peruvian. Campo. Easy, just coming back from an offside position. He struggled to get a hold of the game since coming on. He's
had a couple clever moments on the ball, just combination play, trying to drum up some momentum on that right-hand side.
Joel Gersma is going to come on. The 21-year-olds from Redlands. Too far from Dignity Health Sports Park. He's going to replace Justin Ack. It's going to be a first appearance from Gersma in the middle of midfield. He's actually going to go to that left wing.
He's from Redlands. I wonder who his favorite player was growing up. Maybe he wore an LA Galaxy jersey at one point.
Still going. Still going. They're backing off him. Gersma with a touch and doesn't amount to anything. Winder loses out. White going to have a minimum of 6 additional. And he's even a little bit of daylight. Garces didn't want to take him off for pace. It wasn't a great ball. It's steady play though. Paintel coming back from an offside position and the flag goes up. A bit of jog between Joseph Paintel and Nadir Ocampo.
You wonder at this point in the match, is there one of these teams that just wants to take their medicine and take the point? Certainly doesn't feel like that for either side. Both looking for that late winner in this match.
And Glasners, a little bit of afters as well, they're still going. And it's going to be yellow card for Glasners. He made sure to leave his mark.
Tough to see from our angle up here in the booth. We couldn't see either of their arms in the scrap of who was holding on to who, but they definitely got tangled up.
And now you don't have the bell to delivery. It's the initial foul. There.
You see that pull of the jersey, pulls him down, and then it's that continuation of
He's just trying to get up right.
and they're a little bit locked up at that point. Cabrera, as you mentioned, I thought he's been really, really lively since he's come on the field. Just very efficient with his touches, trying to drive the game forward, bring some of that energy offensively.
Well, they're glad that Berhalter's no longer on the field because it was pretty much the same position. The Raz this time on the delivery, and Sikowski taking no chances.
Decent ball from Lorenz, and we know he liked to hit those at times during his time with Colorado Rapids.
Starter at the Rapids, he's had to bide his time here. Just one start so far for the Whitecaps, 7th time off the bench. Caicedo, if they're ahead of Yamane, gives it away. It's going to be a Whitecaps ball, 2 into the minimum 6 additional. And another yellow card. Referee's been busy tonight. Caicedo, lovely footwork to get in between two. Still has it, goes for goal right into the hands of Marcinkowski. See flashes of what Caicedo can bring.
So explosive. Those first 2-3 steps. I mean, when he's decisive like that, there is nobody in this league that's stopping that level of dribble. But again, you see wingers like that ultimately going to be judged on that final product.
Paintel, one side of that one. Still Paintel, pulls it back. Galaxy just couldn't get on the end of it. And now there's a break on. Cabrera, good read. Good challenge from Elijah Winder. nullifying that attack for the Whitecaps.
Smart of Winder to come over. An important moment. Now the Galaxy have to get reorganized, get into their shape. Whitecaps certainly feel like there's something else out here for them.
Garces, easy putting pressure on. Yoshida, and he's given that one away. Chance to go for goal, and Glesnes with the block from White. Caicedo, the ball in behind for Larraz. That was almost disastrous for Yoshida. Pull back here for Cabrera. Badwell trying to get across it. Two players around him. And the Galaxy just going to clear it out and play for the throw-in. On the back foot here late on, I think that he helps Sports Park, the hosts.
Vancouver really good impact off the bench. A lot of really positive energy. Really bringing it.
That's Cabrera. It's going to be another throw-in.
Really goes into what Jesper Sorensen said about competition for positions, competition in the starting lineup. Really good energy in this squad. You can see the impact players trying to prove themselves to get more minutes.
And going for it because they're sending the centre-back forward to take the throw-in. Laborde, the other centre-back, is in the mix. He got the leveller. Throwing towards that here, punch well defended. Cabrera with the challenge. And now there might be a break on Pencil. On that far side, it's free. Minus going to be taken down, and it's going to be a yellow card for Raz this time.
A lot of physical play, a lot of smart fouls, and Winder was able to recognize that ball just a little bit earlier.
It was on, right?
There was going to be a foul all along, but he could have released that. Pencil was in behind. It's easy for me to sit up here and say, should have seen that ball over here. Left shoulder.
I have completed every pass in the games I haven't played in. Long delivery, long defender by the ball. He's so dominant in each penalty area, in aerial situations. On one towards that far post, Mane takes it down well. That's a good touch. Can he deliver? Good cross. The border gets the first touch. Takaoka misses it, but the whistle goes.
We saw Mike Yoshida with an overhead kick. Gabriel Peck was scrapping for that ball. They're trying to clear out the area for Takaoka to clean handle the ball.
Well, Campo, AZ, Campo falls back to Larraz. We're over the 6 minutes, so Vancouver have got to hurry up and get this ball inside the area. The challenge from Yamane. That is going to be the final action. The Galaxy led through Joseph Painsel's goal, but a set-piece delivery from Sebastian Verhoeven saw Matthias Laborde get on the end of it and allows Vancouver to go back north with his share of the points. Heath, your overall.
phương hóa vật thường 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 xuyên để nghe